For over a decade now, I've been focused on the potential implications of artificial intelligence, and I've really come around to the view that we are very likely on the leading edge of a massive disruption. And I think that it's going to be a disruption that really has two sides to it. On the one hand, it's going to bring enormous benefits to all of humanity. It's going to completely transform fields like science and medicine and transportation and so forth. But the other side is that it's going to put enormous stress on society, on the economy, and I think especially on the job market. So the thing that I think makes artificial intelligence really different from any other technology that's out there is that we're now talking about machines that in a limited sense are truly beginning to think. We've got machines taking on cognitive capability, and most importantly, they're learning. In fact, if there is one technology that is truly central to all of this and has really become the driving force behind all of this progress, it's machine learning. This is just becoming an incredibly important, scalable technology, which is showing, again, remarkable progress. But the other thing that's really important is it is evolving into what we might think of as a utility. It's becoming almost like electricity. Machine learning and artificial intelligence are technologies that are going to impact virtually everything. And that is really one of the most important messages I want to get across from those of you who are involved in running or managing businesses is that, in the future, to run a business without thinking about artificial intelligence and without embracing it and finding ways to incorporate it into your business model will be basically like trying to run a business without using like electricity. I mean, it will be sort of a recipe for making your business irrelevant. So the most important message I want to get across to all of you is that this is a technology which you absolutely cannot afford to ignore, not in the business world, not really in any aspect of your life. It's going to become something that is just incredibly important and which scales across virtually everything. And the most important thing that underlies the remarkable breakthroughs that we've seen recently is what's called deep learning or deep neural networks. And this is a technology that has been around for a long time. Neural networks came into being way back in the 1950s, but for a long time they couldn't really figure out how to really scale this and to build much more sophisticated systems that could really do practical problem solving. But that has really changed just over the last maybe 7 or 8 years. Again, as I said, as a result of faster computers and all of this data coming into being. And these deep learning, these neural networks are really what underlies all of the truly remarkable things that you're seeing happen in artificial intelligence. For example, Amazon Alexa can carry out rudimentary conversations with you. And so this is really the future of artificial intelligence. There's enormous amounts of research going on into these areas, and that's really the promise of the future is that eventually we're going to be able to build systems that can learn in ways that to begin to approximate the way people learn. And that's going to be vastly more powerful than anything we have today. So that's the real promise of the field. And that's the reason that I believe over the years and decades to come, we're going to see truly remarkable progress in these areas. Now, the other area that's going to be impacted is what we might call more skilled or white-collar work. I mean, there's sort of a bias out there that many people think about automation, and they tend to associate that with factories and with less skilled workers, blue-collar workers. But the reality is that many skilled jobs, including jobs like journalists, lawyers, doctors, financial analysts, and so forth, are already being especially susceptible to automation. This is software automation. This is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to do the kinds of jobs that a person sitting in front of a computer manipulating information might do. And it is the case that in some cases, these kinds of jobs might actually be easier to automate than the job in, say, a fast food place or an Amazon warehouse. And the reason is that these kinds of jobs require only software, right? They don't require an expensive robot. So this is a big disruption that I think is going to be very important in the future. Now, beyond the impact on employment, there are many other important risks that artificial intelligence will bring, things that we need to think about. One of the most important will be security. As we rely more on autonomous systems, as people are not in the loop, those systems become more vulnerable to cyber attack, hacking, that type of thing. It becomes more and more important that we build those system security. Another very important issue is privacy. The rise of facial recognition systems in particular is really rising a warning. Another issue is transparency. This has to do with understanding the way artificial intelligence is really working and how it arrives at different answers. There are some areas, for example, using artificial intelligence in areas like criminal justice, where it's very, very important to understand how these algorithms are arriving at the answers that they give. And in many cases, there is some obscurity there. So there's a lot more initiative that needs to be given to understanding the way that these systems work so that we can make sure that the answers that are given are fair and not biased against certain people and so forth. So this is another very important consideration. So finally, what I want to do is just leave you with the key takeaway here, which again is that artificial intelligence is going to become a true utility. It is going to transform everything. It's going to hit every aspect of our society. And for those of you that are running businesses, the main takeaway is that you certainly cannot afford to not embrace this technology, to not leverage this technology. If you do, you will certainly be left behind. But as the technology becomes more like a utility, more like electricity, it will also become more accessible. The tools that enable artificial intelligence to be used in your business are going to get better and better, in particular without, for example, giving away all your data. You'll be able to keep control of your data and use these technologies to build more sustainable, successful, profitable businesses. So that's the main message I want to give to you, that it's one that's very positive, but at the same time, in the broader framework, we really need to think about what this technology is going to mean for our overall economy and our society so we can adapt to it in ways that make sure it works on behalf of everyone. Thank you very much.